Welcome to this week's episode of The Savvy Author. I'm your host and literary consultant, Clara Rose. Welcome, welcome. If you have not been with us before, I just want to say welcome and encourage you to join us each week as we talk about all of the things that you need to know to be a savvy author. And of course, if you've been with us before, welcome back, my friend. Today is kind of an exciting day for me. It's something that's been coming for a while, and I'm super excited to share it with you today. I want to start by jumping in and talking about the moving pieces and the moving parts of getting your book out of your head and getting it actually published and on the shelf someplace, even if it's your own shelf, on the shelf someplace, helping you to have that dream come true of being a published author. But more than that, we focus on building books that are tools that you can use in your business, ministry, cause, or brand to organically generate leads, because we're all looking to build sustainability in whatever it is that we do, correct? And that's why we're here today, to learn about those pieces that you're going to need to make that happen. Okay, so let's jump right into the 3 phases that you're going to be looking at when you're developing your book. All right, the first phase, you'll notice that is separated into 3 phases for you, is analyze, brainstorm, and blueprint. So let's talk through those for just a second. Analyze is really just about creating the right book, and I'm going to go a little more in depth with that as we go along today. Brainstorming is capturing your ideas, all those things that you want to go in the book, and then blueprinting is outlining your structure for the book. Now, this phase is called a book build in the industry. I like to call it the brainstorm and blueprint because that's what it truly is. It's capturing all those pieces and giving yourself a blueprint to follow as you write your book. We'll go into that a little more in depth today, but I just wanted to give you an idea of what falls in phase 1, and that's phase 1. So what is in phase 2? Phase 2 is actually getting the work done. You're writing, putting those words on paper. And then, of course, we need to talk about editing and formatting. Editing, everyone needs an editor. Super important to put your best foot forward when you get your book out into the world. And then, of course, formatting, those little things that are going to make a difference when the reader, or anybody picks up your book and looks at it. We'll talk a little bit more about why that is so important. And then your final phase, or the third phase of the process of getting your book out there, is getting it published. Understanding what your options are super important. And then getting it launched, getting the word out that your book exists, that it's coming out. And then, of course, selling. Ongoing plan for sales, because the cool message or the important message or whatever it is that you have to say, this tool, we really want to sell it, or your message isn't getting out into the world. So let's break down and go over those 3 phases, and then the exciting announcement right as we end up today's segment. All right, so let's get started on the first segment. This is important, and I see too many people kind of breeze over this part, and this is analyzing what your book is going to be about. Now, if you followed me for any length of time, you have totally heard me talk about this one before, but it is super important. Do your research. You want to look at what books are out there that have similar topics. You want to think about how is your book going to be different from those books. Are you saying it the same way, or are you saying it differently? Or how are you going to stand out in the crowd? And then, of course, understanding who your target market is super important. And then having a call to action. So all of this is decision making, right? So when I say do your research, I mean do your research. Get on Google or wherever you like to search and do your research about your idea, your topic idea. Now, if you don't have a really clear idea about what you want your book to be about, you're going to flounder a lot, my friend. So getting really clear up front, what is my message? Who am I saying it to? Who do I want to hear this message? And then why would somebody pick mine over another book about the same topic? Because I promise you, you are not going to be the only book out there under your topic. So this is a good example. This is my last book that I published. It's actually a co-published. I have a co-author in this one. 8 Ways to Mind Your Own Business, Strategy and Mindset for the New Entrepreneur. I think this came out in 2020. I didn't have one come out last year, but this book is about strategies and mindset for the new entrepreneur. So this book is telling the new entrepreneur the things that they need to know about starting up their business in a savvy way, because you know I love the word savvy. But I am not the only book out there talking about business. So I had to look for ways that my book is going to stand out. One of the ways that we chose to get people's attention is our title, 8 Ways to Mind Your Own Business, right? Has double meaning. It's kind of clever. People are like, ooh, I love that title. So many people will grab our book simply because of the title. And then the subtitle, Strategy and Mindset for the New Entrepreneur, lets them know that this is for them if they're a new entrepreneur. So that was one of the ways that we chose to stand out. We have some other ways, and that's for a later date, but that's all in the strategy of getting your book ready to launch and out to the world. That's what I'm talking about. How are you going to be different than that other book sitting on the shelf talking about a similar topic? All right, let's move on. I hate to nag on that one, but I promise you it makes a difference. Do your research. Okay, and then brainstorm and blueprint. Analyzing, of course, is a part of this process, but the brainstorm and blueprint process that we go through with our authors is all about capturing all of those ideas that are floating around in your head for your book, and then organizing them into topics that are going to make sense to the reader of your book. And then, of course, you need to create an outline of your book, and that's what the industry calls a book build. But I like the term blueprint. These are best done together. The brainstorm and blueprint process, best done together. What that really does is it helps create a firm foundation for actually the next phase, where we're going to start the writing or the creation process of your book, the creation and refinement process of your book. Nothing beats getting the writing done, but if you don't have a firm direction before you start writing, a couple of things are going to happen. You've probably heard me talk about this one before, but writer's block. If you don't have a firm foundation, a good map to follow or a blueprint as you write your book, you will get stuck. And when you get stuck, we call it writer's block. You're sitting at the keyboard, staring at the screen, sometimes typing a few words and then backspacing them out because they don't feel right. Or worse, you avoid sitting down at the keyboard altogether. It's because you're stuck. You don't know where to go next because you didn't have a firm foundation. You didn't have a map to follow. And that is always step one. So if you are already partway through your book and you're struggling and you have some writer's block, that could be the reason you didn't get that clear up front. And then, of course, if you're thinking about writing your book, that now is the time the brainstorm blueprint's the time to really get clear on your messaging and how your reader is going to consume your message. All right, let's move on to the next phase. So phase 2 includes the writing of your chapters, the actual work of putting your hiney in the seat to get the writing done. Nothing will replace getting the writing done. This is all about time and consistency. Writing is about having a schedule and making yourself do the work. It's helpful to schedule out time that's specific to writing when you're not going to have any interruptions. And for some people, that means putting a sign on their door, or closing their door, or whatever boundary you need to set, turning off your cell phone, or at least the noises. You don't need any bleeps and beeps and boops and whatever, interrupting your train of thought when you're writing. Whatever it takes to say, this is my time to write, uninterrupted, is super, super important. And then, of course, following the outline so that you can get the work done. The outline is going to guide you through the content creation of your book. And then accountability is key to success in this department. I can't tell you how many people come to me with a partially finished book where if it wasn't the foundation where they went awry, it was just that they don't have somebody holding them accountable to actually getting the work done. Sometimes a writer's group is helpful for this. Maybe a buddy or a friend who also is trying to get their book written can be helpful for that. Or, of course, having a professional who calls you or reaches out to you weekly to say, "Where are you today?" is also very helpful. Okay, the next piece of this phase, of course, is editing and formatting. Now, everyone needs an editor. Even editors have editors, because as an editor, we often read what we think we wrote instead of what we actually wrote. Happens to me all the time. Some editors also offer formatting for book publication. Not all of them, so you're going to need to ask right up front when you choose an editor if they offer formatting services, or if they can refer you to somebody who offers formatting services. This is a really important piece because a well-formatted book is going to help you sell better than a poorly formatted book. You need a professional for this. You need someone to say to you the little things. And I always give this example when I talk about this because it's one of my pet peeves, honestly. So when you open a book and you look at the pages of a book, if this edge over here is not justified or a straight line of words, tacky, tacky, tacky. It looks like somebody made it themselves, and it looks very unprofessional. A professionally formatted book, it's not going to have raw edges over here. We're not going to have a whole bunch of, left justified text that has lots of widows and orphans and pieces over here sticking out funky. It looks odd and unprofessional, and honestly, some people won't know why it looks odd or why it feels cheesy, but they'll just think it's cheesy without even understanding why it's cheesy. And that's your tip for the day. That's a freebie right there, my friend. Okay, so you need an editor because everyone needs an editor, and you need a formatter for this phase because everyone needs a formatter. Okay, so the final phase, of course, is where we get our finished manuscript and we send it out to the world. And we're going to talk about the importance of publishing and launching your book. Education matters. The more you understand about writing and publishing, the better. You can't make a good decision about how you're going to publish until you have an understanding of what your options really are. And then your strategy matters. Planning to write your book that becomes the tool that you need it to be. That all starts in the very beginning with a good strategy for publishing and launching. It's not just strategy about how to pull your book together or what should be in it. It's important to know what you're going to do with this tool that you're going to create. And then, of course, formatting matters. We did talk about that. A well-formatted book sells better. You need a professional for this. You just need someone to help you, teach you what you need to do or to do it for you. One of the two. You need somebody to help you with that. Everything truly does matter. Hire a professional or an agency to help you manage the moving parts is always my best advice for you. Now, if you have followed me for any length of time, maybe you have heard me speak, or you've been in one of my classes, or you've been a previous client, or maybe you have even seen me on social media. Wherever you have heard me speak, you will have heard me talk about, or likely heard me talk about, the planning that we do in our personal lives and our businesses, my husband and I. So at the end of every year, we spend a couple of weeks where we just plan for the new year. We do our vision board, casting a vision for what the new year is going to look like. We look at our 1-year goals, our 3-year goals, our 5-year goals. Where were we last year, right? Where are we now? In comparison to the goals that we set. And then, of course, mid-year, we always, usually August-ish, July sometimes, take a week or so and look at where are we so far in our goals this year. So the end of the year is the big one. So last year, when I sat down and did end-of-year goals for my company and where I wanted to be, I looked at some patterns that I could see that have emerged. Now, when you do planning so regularly and systematically, patterns become evident to you. It's easy to look back and say, here was our goal, here was our kind of adjustment time, and here's where we ended up. And then you can look back at the why, right? Why did these things happen? So as I look back at my mid-year adjustments and I looked at my where we were for the year, I noticed the pattern of really great opportunities. That's me chatting with people, chatting with potential clients who had a really wonderful book or even a really wonderful business idea that they wanted to build around a book that they wanted to create, whatever that looked like, that never happened. So I've spent time on Zoom with them. We talked through the process, and I gave them, a proposal for a package, and they weren't able to do it for one reason or another. Sometimes it was, I don't have the time, or sometimes it was, that's really out of my budget. And it's expensive when you hire somebody one-on-one to help you to create something. It just is. They're in business, right? It just is expensive. And not everyone is in a position to be able to do that. Or it wasn't, especially through the last few years where we've had some interesting things happening in our world, in our lives, it wasn't good timing for them. And as I looked at some of those potential businesses, those potential books, I was a little sad about some of them. That this was such a great idea. I'm sad that she wasn't ever, or he wasn't ever able to do that. And I started to look at what if there was a way that I could help more people? What if there was a way that I could help those people who either didn't have the time, didn't have the budget, whatever the reason was, couldn't work one-on-one with me to get their book done? So I started looking at some business models that would allow for that. Not that I'm changing my business model at all. You can still hire me, to walk you through from your conception about your book all the way through the catapult phase where we've launched it and you're selling your book. You can still hire me one-to-one. But I thought, I wonder if I created a program for people who didn't quite have the budget for one-on-one, didn't have the time for the one-on-one, needed to work at their own pace or needed to work different hours than I'm available to work with people. What if I could create something for those people based on what I already do one-on-one, but that they could do in a group setting? What if there was another option for them? And I created something. I took all of the pieces of my current business and said, okay, if you are brand new and you just have an idea for a book, what is it that you need? How can I deliver that to a group, a set of people, and do those things? Make it affordable, there's not time constraints to it, so they can do it on their own. Obviously, that means I can't do it live with them, but can there be a live segment so they can ask questions, so they can make progress, move forward, know what that next step is, and not feel like they're trying to figure it out and do it all alone? What if somebody already started their book, it's going okay, but they're stuck? They're stuck with a half-finished manuscript. They don't know what to do next. They feel like, if I could just ask some questions, if I could just get someone to help me with this piece, I think that I could move forward. And then what about those people who they already have created a manuscript? And I hear this quite often, actually. Hey, I have this manuscript, but I don't know what to do next. And so what if I had something for those people as well, that they could come in and say, all right, here's my manuscript. What's missing? What's next? What's my next step? What do I do? So I created all of those separate pieces. Oh, and don't forget the launch piece, because I get that question often. You know what? I have a book I'm ready to launch. I don't know how to publish it. I don't know how to launch it. I don't even know how would I even sell this? Do I need to buy 1,000 books and store them in the garage and then figure out how to sell them and then ship them to people? I don't know what to do next. So I've created from all of the pieces that I've been doing for so long, over a decade, all of those pieces and made it into something consumable whenever you want to consume it, access to me as literary consultant, access to editors, access to bonuses that will help you take your book from idea to flying off the shelf, or even take your idea from book idea to a business, building a business out of it. So a whole bunch of really great tools that we're building out for you. And today I'm going to give you an opportunity to do something that is really unique. It's a little scary to take a big leap into something so new and so unknown, but I'm excited. I've spent the last 6 months learning how the process works, how to pull this together, and I am ready to invite people to join this process with me. And I wanted you, my show followers, my audience right here, to be the first people to be invited to participate in the Savvy Author Mentorship Program. You are invited. So we're opening the doors for those interested in being part of the founding member launch of the Savvy Author Mentoring Program. Would you like to join me? We would like for you to join us. You can do that by going to clararose.com/founding member. So this is that very first group of people who will move through the process with me as we figure out how to, in the best way possible, the best client-centric, author-centric way possible, deliver everything that you need to get your book idea out of your head and to get it published, to build the pieces around it, to do the marketing, to do all of those pieces. We are going to be developing together as we go. So everything that I would have taught someone one-on-one will happen in the mentoring program as well. And as a founding member, you're going to get access to less than half the price of what it will be when the doors open for the very first time. I'm guessing in about 6 months, when it's completely built out, you will have an opportunity as a founding member to mold it, to shape it, to make it what it's going to be in the long run. And in exchange, you get it for a really great price. The best deal out there on the market, I promise you. And I want to tell you really quickly what you're going to get and why it works. All right, we're running out of time today. So let's start with what our members are going to get. So you will get these as well. You will just help build out the process and make it even better and more refined. Step 1, brainstorm and blueprint. Now, of course, we've been doing brainstorm and blueprint for years, but this is going to be in a group setting in a different way. We have had our brainstorm and blueprint masterclass that has worked successfully in a group, so that's not totally from scratch, but doing it on large scale is going to be different, and we understand that. So that's step 1 that will work people through. Step 2 is writing and accountability. So you're going to get all of the help that you need getting your writing done, following your blueprint, getting your heinies in the seat, and that accountability to actually get your writing done. We'll have a Savvy Authors writers group that you'll be a part of so we can encourage each other. That's all good stuff too. Step 3, editing and formatting. Of course, you still need an editor, but we're going to help you by teaching you all of the things, the basic editing things that you need to know before you find an editor. And then, of course, how to find a good editor, where to find a good editor, and what you should be paying. And then, of course, formatting, all of the basics of formatting and who you can look to for more guidance or more help if you don't want to do the formatting yourself. And then, of course, step 4, publishing and launching. We'll tell you about all of your choices for publishing, the different ways that you do it, and even teach you how to do those that you can do for yourself. And then launching, the Catapult project that helps people to catapult their book out into the world. All of that launching stuff, we're going to drop that knowledge on you as well. And then step 5, the promoting and selling. Of course, that's going to be included, and we're going to work through all of the pieces of how to promote and how to launch your book and sell it out in the world. All those things that could feel mystifying at this point, feel like, I don't even have any idea how to do this. But I promise you, it is not buying 1,000 books and storing them in your garage. That is an old, antiquated way of doing things. We won't be teaching you that. All right. Why does it work? We're almost out of time, but I want to tell you why this works. The Savvy Author Mentoring Program is the first of its kind to give you a full blueprint for creating a successful book, plus the education and the accountability to get it done. You have a seasoned literary consultant and editor to guide you every step of the way. So there's no more wondering where to start or writing yourself into a corner or a half-finished manuscript that you have no idea how to get finished and out to the world. We're going to teach you everything you need to know about the front matter, your core content, the back matter of your book project, and then help you build a solid structure for a successful book. Our brainstorm process pulls together your thoughts and ideas into a plan for your manuscript. This is important for the cohesive message in your book that readers are going to enjoy and want to read. So the blueprint then becomes your outline and your table of contents for the book, and it becomes a step-by-step map for successfully writing your book. All you do is follow the blueprint and write. And of course, we educate you about your publishing options, guide you through the editing, the formatting, and the publishing process, point you in the right direction when you need to hire somebody, and then you're going to learn how to launch your new book and get set up to make sales. And of course, the most important part is that accountability is actually built right into the process every step of the way. The writers' groups work together to encourage each other, and as we put in our writing time to actually get it done, the collaborations we've seen in groups is absolutely amazing. You are not going to want to miss this opportunity. So no matter where you are at in your journey, the Savvy Author Mentoring Program can help you plan, write, publish, and launch your book for the world. Super, super, super excited. For a limited time only, you can get in as a founding member. The doors are closing on June 13th, so that's 10 days from today, and the founding member opportunity will be gone forever. The next launch will, of course, be a live launch, and the founding members, you get that price for life. You can stay a part of the group for as long as you'd like. And of course, the writers group brings you lots and lots of future opportunities as well. Okay, clararose.com/founding member is how you participate. All right, my friends, I am out of time. Thank you for joining me once again. I'm going to see you next week.